everybody, we are the Babes of Bourbon. I am Megan Rudder.
I am Eric Rudder.
And today we're super excited to be sampling Penelope Bourbon.
Yes, I am super excited. We're sampling two things, the Penelope 4-grain bourbon.
Which is the one we're going to do first.
And the Penelope cask strength, I believe it's called.
Yep, barrel strength.
Barrel
cask
strength.
strength.
Yes.
Same difference. Yeah, we're super excited to sample this. This is a company owned by four best friends, two couples. Mike and Danny are the two guy best friends, married to Carrie and Bridget. And they came up with the name Penelope because I believe it's Danny and Carrie's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they always wanted to name their daughter. And they decided to go on a business venture as best friends and neighbors and create this cool company.
Yes.
I love that.
That's awesome.
We should count some of our friends running a business with us.
Name it Poppy.
Yeah. Oh, like they're kitty. That would be so cute. Penelope, we're not stealing from you guys, I promise.
But yeah, I actually reached out to Penelope to get some samples because I have tried their bourbon in the past.
I have not.
And I believe it was the cask strength, the barrel proof that I've tried in the past. And I really enjoyed it. I reached out to them and they sent me a couple samples for us to sample.
Just what we're doing today.
Which was a while ago that I tried their bourbon. So I'm really interested to see where it's come.
Yeah.
And
how the flavors changed.
Yeah,
how
my flavors changed.
Our preferences have changed. And if you check out their website too, I think it was penelopebourbon.com. We just searched Penelope Bourbon. They do state that their bourbon is good for sipping and for mixing in beverages, which honestly, now that we've been drinking so many bourbons neat, sometimes it's actually hard to find a bourbon in our cabinet that pairs really well with making cocktails.
Yes.
Personally, because I don't want to take a bottle that we spent like, I don't know, $70 on and mix it with a bunch of things. I'd rather drink it neat.
And also, I've done it before and it doesn't taste very good.
Yeah. I feel like there are definitely bourbons that are made to drink neat and bourbons that are made for making really nice cocktails. So I'm excited to see what I think about this.
Yep. Like I'm just going to give you a little disclosure quick. Woodford Double Doped is one of my favorite bourbons and it's around $45. I would never recommend mixing it in especially old fashioned because it was very bad. And
he makes really good old fashions, guys. Yep. We're not just pulling your chain here. It wasn't great.
No.
It was because the flavor is so good for sipping, but it doesn't have like that bold punch that you need when it's mixed with something sweet. Let's get started. Sorry. Sometimes we get with the videos and I'm just sitting here like staring at my bourbon, ready to go. So again, this is the Penelope 4-grain. They sent us a fact sheet if you've seen me like looking down over here with their stuff on it that I'm going to be referencing. This one is aged 2 to 3 years. It is non-chill filtered and it's 80 proof. Now, can you remind everybody what non-chilled filter means?
Non-chilled filter means that they do not do the chill filtration. And it use some amino acids and fatty acids in there. I don't know about amino acids. At least some fatty acids in there. That
you just hear those two going together a lot when you talk.
Which could potentially give the bourbon a little more flavor. So even though that's 80 proof, it could still have that a little more flavor in there with those oils. And also the mouthfeel, not fuel. Will feel a little more oily.
Yes, and if you want some more information on chill filtered, all of that stuff, I believe we talked about that in our video on New Riff.
Yes, that is correct.
So go check that out if you want more information. We kind of went into it there.
Yep.
I enjoy the nose on this quite a bit.
A little bit of honey, I think. And maybe a little... I want to say like a little orange, citrusy notes.
I get floral.
I see that too.
We could say orange blossoms come to like a middle ground for us. I don't know what an orange blossom smells like, but
I actually get all those notes in here. The little bit of honey, a little bit of orange, and maybe a little bit of like those floral notes.
It has a very light nose, which makes
Mhm.
sense being only aged 2 to 3 years. It's not going to have a huge like oaky flavor because it hasn't contracted and expanded in the barrels for a ton of years. It's been 2 to 3. So the other flavors are popping out. Ready for a sip?
Yes.
See, you're absolutely spot on with like talking about the mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely get that nice like oily mouthfeel that I personally enjoy in bourbon.
Yep, this is the only 80 proof bourbon that I've actually had that in, with it being the non-chill filter.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it tastes pretty watery when they're the 80 to 90 proof.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't taste watery. It does actually have like a big oak flavor, which I was surprised because that's not on the nose at all, but it is definitely in there.
Yes.
In the taste.
I do get a big oak flavor in the flavor as well.
I'm going to be honest. 2 to 3 years, 80 proof. This is much better than what I was expecting. I think this is a really solid product.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this would be a really nice bourbon in some cocktails.
Absolutely. It's going to give that oaky flavor for the cocktails,
Mm-hmm.
and smelling it, it's going to bring out those floral notes. I think this is...
I got to take one more sip. Sometimes I feel the need to narrate. Like, you can see me. It's a video. And I'm like,
play.
one more sip. Here we go.
Also, what I would definitely say, this is going to probably be the most flavor punch that you're going to get from an 80 proofer.
I agree.
At that, especially in that $35 flavor. If I was new to bourbon and wanted to see if this was something I enjoy or not, I would definitely consider buying Penelope. I think it was $35 at Total Wine.
Really?
Yes.
I was expecting it to be more expensive because it being a newer young distillery. $35 for that I think is a really solid price.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. $35.
Yes.
You guys know I like things on a budget. I'm like, oh, $35. Get ready.
And this could be something I could sip on all night. Sort of like your session IPAs where you want to drink all night and you don't want to get
hammered.
Yes.
Yeah, that can sometimes be a problem.
Yep. For none of your beer drinkers out there, session IPAs are like the lower alcohol by volume IPAs compared to like those 8 to 10% IPAs.
Yeah.
That taste delicious, but can get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm. I think it's solid for the price, for the age, for the proof. I think it's quite well made and well done.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a cool little tidbit that they have on their website. This is an MGP sourced bourbon, and then it's actually blended at Castle and Key.
Yes. Which is awesome.
Which is a castle.
Yeah.
Like it sounds.
It's one of the old distilleries. Yeah. I know that much.
We drove by it when we were in Kentucky.
Yeah, and it was beautiful.
It's really beautiful, so I think that's fun that it gets to be blended there.
I am guessing there is some good history with Castle and Key.
Mm-hmm. That we don't know, but we can always find out.
Fortunately, we did not do the research before this video.
Well, Penelope isn't technically Castle and Key. That's just where they blend, so we didn't have to get into it, all right? Just kidding. So, all right, let's do our scale real quick before we move on to the barrel proof.
Mm-hmm.
So for the nose, out of 2, I'm going to give it a 1. Like,
I actually enjoy the nose quite a bit. That's where I really think this bourbon actually shines the most. I'm going to give it a 1.5.
Very nice, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Taste, out of 3.
I do get a big oak punch, which is... Some oaks I don't enjoy. Mm-hmm. Some oaks I do enjoy. This one I enjoy. I'm going to give it a 1.5 as well. And
that's exactly what I gave it.
For that taste, I also do enjoy that oily finish on here, that mouthfeel,
Oh yeah.
which I put in to taste. I think that's where you should put it. I don't know.
But we have a finish.
Yeah. Do you put in the finish?
I'm gonna put mine in the finish, but honestly, guys, I think it tastes pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do. And for, I gave it a 1.5 like Eric did. And for the finish out of 2, this is where I'm going to give it a 1.5 because it's very unique in the way that it still is oily for the proof.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't drank a lot of bourbon that has a big mouthfeel, don't be grossed out by the fact that we're calling it oily. It's a good thing.
Yes.
It's a very enjoyable good thing. It like coats the mouth and it's very tasty.
Yes.
That just sounds gross. This isn't a pleasant way. We gotta find some better verbiage to describe the mouthfeel. Maybe you guys don't care. Maybe you're like, yeah, that's how you should be describing it.
Because I gave the points for the oiliness in the taste, I'm going to give the finish a 1. It doesn't last that long. It is nice. It is 80 proof, so you're not going to get that big, long finish. I am interested to see if this one that's uncut, unfiltered, and barrel proof is going to have a little bit more of a finish.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 1 out of 2.
Very nice. And then for price and availability, now you said it's $35. You can find it at Total Wine in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Have you seen it anywhere else?
I've seen it at liquor stores down in Illinois.
But not
I have
here.
not seen it anywhere around here, really.
Then I am going to give it a 1.5 because if you can get it at Total Wine, there's plenty of those in the local area to grab it from. And I'm sure if it's in Illinois, it's making its way up here for availability more.
Absolutely. I think in time it will definitely be here and available. At the price, when I compare it to like other things on the market, I'm sort of in like the price range of Wild Turkey and other. It's a little bit more, but it's also craft, and it's also so it's a different profile than you're going to get out of like the common distilleries.
It's different than like Buffalo Trace. It's different than Wild Turkey.
And I think it's actually, you're going to enjoy this more if you're new to bourbon than you would
agree.
At those products, most likely. I am going to give this a 2 out of 3 for the price.
Nice. So my total comes out to 5.5 out of 10, which is exactly where I thought this one was going to be. And again, I always say this every video, our scale, if it's over 5, that's something that we would recommend and that we would most likely buy again. If it's under 5, it's something that we would not. What is your total?
I gave it a 6 out of 10. And I definitely agree. This is something I would buy.
Yeah.
I would definitely probably drink this on nights where I don't want a heavy hitting bourbon.
Yeah.
And I would also definitely introduce my friends with this product. I think I've said that like 6 times this video already. But
are you going to introduce people with this product?
I am.
I would, and like we said too, I've been beating this dead horse. I would definitely try this in a cocktail.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One more sip and then move on to the barrel strength. Get a little water in between.
That's good.
It really is. This may, make your jokes, guys, but that doesn't make me gag. I just have to put that out there because there are products that definitely do. They like hit in your throat and it doesn't settle well. This settles very well. Just because it's young, it doesn't have that factor to it.
Yes.
Make your jokes. I don't care, folks. Honest reviews. All right, I'm going to flip my little cheat sheet over. And now we have our barrel strength Penelope. And can you also find this one at Total Wine?
Yes, I have seen it there.
Do you know what the price is?
I believe this one is between $55 and $60.
Okay. Which makes sense. Barrel strength, craft, they're usually higher in price.
Honestly, every other MGP that is barrel strength and around the same age is going to be about the same price.
You know what? Before we move on, I just realized at the bottom of the sheet they had notes for the flavor that I didn't go in. The 4 grain, what they do for the nose is balanced corn sweetness, caramel, light oak, syrup, dynamic aroma profile with slight savory notes. And the body is fruit, syrup, candied sweetness, and slightly flavored grains.
And really quick, just because I don't think we've ever mentioned, because we haven't done a 4 grain bourbon on here, what 4 grain means is your traditional bourbon is corn, rye, and barley, or corn, wheat, and barley. What this one does is it does corn, wheat, rye, and barley. So that's where you get your 4 grains from.
I'm gonna pretend that I totally also knew that. I knew why I kept saying 4 grain on this sheet. Just gonna get into that in a little bit. Thank you so much for telling me. He teaches me so much. All right, on to our barrel strength. I really like this nose. Mm-hmm. It's flavorful.
Yep, it's completely different than this 80 proofer.
Yeah. And the proof on this one, do they have it? Oh, yep, it's 116. Mm-hmm. Which for a higher price bourbon, I expect a high proof, so makes me happy.
I am getting a little bit of a caramel note.
I'm getting caramel. I'm getting cherries.
I do get a fruit. Let me see if I think it's cherries.
Guys, if you just saw me glance down, I'm totally cheating now. I'm like, what else am I getting on here? What does the sheet tell me I'm going to get? What I originally smelled was candied cherries, the oak, the caramel sweetness. Mm-hmm.
I get a fruit. I'm not going to say it's cherries, but I do get a fruit.
I think I do say that things smell a lot like cherries to me pretty often on here, and I would like to tell you guys why. I drink a lot of old fashions with my mom. Like Friday night fish fry, you gotta have an old fashioned. And like we always have like the cherries in the bottom that have like, been marinating in the bourbon and the syrup, and you eat them at the end. So I'm used to like basically bourbon cocktail infused maraschino cherries.
They normally steal my cherries, so.
Nice! That's my mom, it's not me. I'm an angel.
So that's why I can't say definitely that it's a cherry. I can just say
fruit. Dare you. All right, I enjoy this nose quite a bit.
Yes. I get oak.
Definitely get oak. You can right away tell going from an 80 proof to a 116. Mm-hmm. Like there's no doubt that that's a 116 proof. It's like a punch.
Yes.
To the taste buds, and it kind of like spreads from the front of your tongue to the roof of your mouth and back.
Definitely get oak. I'm just thinking what other flavors I get here, because I get more. I just don't know what they are yet.
Yeah. It's like heat and sweetness, like, and I'm not exactly sure like what the sweetness is coming from, but there is a heat and a sweetness that just kind of like spreads throughout your mouth, which is very unique.
Yes. I want to say it's caramel, but I could just be wrong, but I do think that I get a good caramel punch here.
I agree with you. Do you want any other guesses, or should we look? I'm looking right now, as you can tell, so I'm just going to tell you guys. So it says smoke transitions from the forward notes into the body, orange peel, fruit, caramel, increased oak notes to provide a good kick in the body. And I like how they use the word smoke, because it is kind of like smoke, how it enters and like fills the room. It has that effect.
That is a good point. I haven't had a lot of bourbons with a lot of smoke in them. I probably have, I just haven't noticed it. But now that you say smoke, I definitely get like that little
smoky
campfire cigar flavor in there. Now
that you call that out, 100%.
That's why I knew there was more flavors in here than just oak. But yes, it's definitely that little bit of cigar-y, campfire-y.
And with you calling that out, that like lends to this, for me personally, has a very unique flavor profile that it is hard to pinpoint, and I think it is because we haven't had many smoky bourbons in the past. I really enjoy this.
I do too. I'm just going to say something about MGP. I know a lot of people, well, I don't know if there's a lot of people, but some people don't like MGP because the distillery isn't actually making
they're like,
that bourbon.
They're not doing it from start to finish.
But blending it is a craft in its own.
Honestly, the bourbons that we have had that are sourced from MGP, I've enjoyed every single one of them. So, honestly, if we paid for these bottles and didn't get free samples, I'd be giving the exact same review because I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, to be totally honest, I was a little worried because it's been it's been a little while since I've had Penelope.
I was like, oh my gosh, it is a family company. They're with their best friends. What if we don't like it? What are we supposed to say to the people? No problem, actually. Thank you, Penelope, for making this easy on us to review.
This is really good and really unique. It was definitely a worry.
I will say between the second one and the first one, the 4 grain versus the barrel strength, the finish of the barrel strength, it lasts longer because that smoky heat is filling your mouth, but the 4 grain has that oily mouthfeel. So they have very different finishes, both very unique, and I think both very tasty. Bum, bum, bum. Let's get you rating this one. All right, nose. I'm going to give it a 1.5 out of 2. I really enjoyed it. Don't really see anything wrong with it.
That's what I gave it too, 1.5.
Taste out of 3. I am going to give it a 1.25, and here's why. I'm giving the finish out of 2 the full 2 points.
Okay.
Because for this one, it's hard for me to separate those two, and I think this is the first bourbon I'm giving the finish the full points. I don't get in the taste, it's not like there's a whole bunch of different flavors within there. It's pretty standard. It tastes like oak. It tastes like caramel. But that finish of the smoke filling your mouth is really unique and a super pleasant experience. So that's why I'm rating it that way.
I gave it a 1.75. 1.75 on the taste. And I haven't written down the finish yet, but it was a 1.5.
Solid.
I really enjoyed the smoky finish there. It lasts. It doesn't just go away instantly. I think I'm still getting a little bit of that last sip in there. So I enjoy that.
All right, in total?
I believe I mentioned this was between a $55 and $60 bottle already.
I just skipped over price and availability. I had written it down, and in my head, I'm sorry, honey, I wasn't listening to him. I was going through my speech.
Yes. So for price and availability, again, I see this at Total Wine. I haven't seen it as much around Wisconsin other than Total Wine. But I have seen it down in Illinois as well. So
I gave it the same score.
Yep, I'm going to give this a 1.5 as well.
Because 1.5, it's the same availability. It is that $60 to $70 mark, but that is right where the craft distilleries are. And I think this one is worth it if you want to try a craft bourbon, if you want to support a business that's much more small business than, let's say, any Buffalo Trace product, any 1792.
Yep. Any Wild Turkey.
Yeah, if you want to try
Heaven
something
Hill.
different. Once you've gone through this, as I say this, all of those bourbons are fantastic. Their whiskeys, their rye, their bourbons. I love drinking them. But I like trying things that are more unique, more niche, smaller.
I definitely enjoy trying a wide variety. And I think early on you said this is one of your goals for 2021 is sample some craft bourbons.
Must have been drinking a lot of bourbon.
So
that's a great goal.
Yes.
Past Megan was spot on. We should try more craft bourbons.
So
This was a really good start because Woodinville, Angel's Envy, and the Isaac Bowman, those aren't.
Woodinville, I would throw in that craft. Angel's Envy and Isaac Bowman. Well, Isaac Bowman's
They're
probably
like
craft. The Angel's Envy is sort of large at this point.
I was going to say this is my first like craft bourbon, but apparently I've just been drinking it this whole time without thinking about it.
Necessarily realizing it.
Yeah.
But yes. My score on this one is 3 plus 3. It's 6.25 again.
Mine is 6.25.
A little higher than the 4 grain.
Yeah.
It is
Which
a little
makes
more
sense.
like this one. If you had to pick one and you didn't care about price at all, this one is a clear deliciousness winner. If you're concerned about price, you don't know if $60. If you're new to bourbon and you're like, I don't really want to spend $60 on a bottle, you're going to
4 grain first.
enjoy this one quite a bit.
Yeah, because honestly, if you are newer, barrel strength is a little bit much to start with.
Mm-hmm.
You want to kind of build up. That was my personal experience having drinking bourbon now for like 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it a lot now. You guys see me do it every week, but I did not in the beginning. All right, quick story before we conclude. I was trying to, support my man and his interests. And pre-pandemic, we went to Total Wine and did a tasting class. And they had like 10 different bourbons and whiskeys. And they were bringing them all out. And every single one of them, I just absolutely hated. I had to drive that night. I gave Eric all of my samples pretty much. And now I want to go back because I feel like I would really enjoy it.
Except New Riff. You like New Riff a little bit.
I did like New Riff, and I liked the, I think it was a Scotch though.
It was a Scotch. You liked the peat. It was a heavy peated Scotch, which I was shocked you liked. Because
that was like the one, that and the New Riff were the only two that really appealed to me.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days we might have to get a Scotch in here.
Maybe, yeah. Is there a Scottish holiday? I don't know.
Not one that we celebrate. I was like, St. Patty's Day, and then I realized that was Irish, and that this is just me being uneducated over associating the two cultures.
Maybe on St. Patty's Day, because that's coming up, we could do
J-Mo.
Scotland versus Ireland, because there's a lot of good Irish whiskeys too. But might as well throw a Scotch in there too. Do a little head-to-head.
We'll see. Maybe the month of March we'll have like stuff from both cultures. We'll see what happens, folks. But anyways, thank you so much for watching our video. Go out there, try some Penelope bourbon. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Follow us on Instagram at the Babes of Bourbon, and just overall have a wonderful night, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.